What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Paulo Costa and Belal Muhammad weighing in on Khamzat Chimaev's recent claims. Recently, streaking contender Khamzat Chimaev proclaimed that nobody wants to fight him after the UFC offered 4 opponents a fight with him on 4 different cards. He went on to claim he had been turned down by every single one. That quickly caught the attention of several notable figures, including former UFC fighter Kevin Lee, who said he'd be willing to return to the octagon to fight Chimaev. In addition, Belal Muhammad and Paulo Costa took to Instagram to react to Chimaev's claim that nobody is willing to fight him. The two both laughed off the streaking contender in the comments section of the post, as Costa rhetorically asked if anyone really believed the claim. Belal Muhammad was quick to weigh in on the situation as well, joking that the 4 opponents that supposedly turned Chimaev down must be Nick Diaz, Tony Ferguson, former WWE star Bret the Hitman Hart, and inaugural WEC middleweight champion Chris Lieben. Daniel Cormier then weighed in on Wednesday, explaining in a video why he believes Chimaev could be telling the truth.
We are talking about people with the biggest egos in the world. And when Khamzat tells a guy, you're a bitch, you're a bitch, you're a bitch, you're a bitch, you don't see that happen without consequence. Generally, someone steps up immediately and says, I'm not afraid of you. But Khamzat said this yesterday and still nothing.
Belal Muhammad has been notably vocal about his desire to fight Khamzat. Prior to signing to fight Sean Brady at UFC 280, he was seeking a fight with the undefeated star. According to Muhammad, the UFC wanted no part of this matchup. After his win over Brady, Muhammad spoke at the post-fight press conference to call out Khamzat, taking aim at the 2-division contender for his recent fight week weigh-in debacle at UFC 279. Despite the fight all but booking itself, the UFC was rumored to be working on a welterweight #1 contender fight between Chimaev and Colby Covington. With no word yet on who Chimaev could fight next, we want to hear from you. Who do you want to see him return against in the new year? Give us your thoughts in the comment section below. Henry Cejudo gives update on Aljamain Sterling fight. Fight fans have been eagerly awaiting news on former 2-division champion Henry Cejudo's return fight after Aljamain Sterling defended the 135-pound title by dispatching of TJ Dillashaw at UFC 280. The Funk Master was then linked to a fight with Henry Cejudo. Triple C's manager, Ali Abdelaziz, broke the news, with Sterling then confirming it. As the champion revealed at the time, although the fight had not been finalized, he was on board for a showdown with Cejudo. With bantamweight #1 contender Sean O'Malley and the rest of the fight community eager for news regarding the potential showdown, it seemed like only a matter of time before things were finalized. Since then, however, there's been little movement on the fight. In a recent video released through his YouTube channel, Cejudo gave an update on negotiations, while also sending a warning shot at Sean O'Malley, saying,
I'm prepared, I'm ready. The UFC wants it, Dana White wants it. It's pretty much, it's signed on my portion, which is waiting for Aljamain Sterling, and we're waiting for the UFC to really pop off the date and for me to be crowned and you. And Sean O'Malley, stay hot, man. You just wait for Daddy to come back, and you're next.
As Cejudo went on to explain, the UFC was reportedly targeting the March 4th UFC 285 pay-per-view in Las Vegas. However, he thinks that the champion needs more time. From the sounds of things, that's okay with Cejudo, who is willing to wait for the summer return Sterling originally wanted. With the Funk Master seemingly on board for the fight, all that's left is for the UFC to offer a date and for him to sign on the dotted line. When the two men clash in 2023, who do you think emerges victorious? Give us your thoughts in the comment section below. Sean O'Malley weighs in on Cory Sandhagen versus Marlon Vera fight at the UFC Apex. In the new year, 2 of the best bantamweights on the planet will collide when former interim title challenger Cory Sandhagen squares off against Marlon Chito Vera. Although the fight has everyone talking, there's been a sense of disappointment that the fight will take place at the UFC Apex rather than in an arena packed with fans. Bantamweight #1 contender Sean O'Malley weighed in on the situation this week, predicting that the location will benefit Chito Vera more than it will Cory Sandhagen. He spoke during a recent YouTube video to discuss the difference in octagon sizes and how it will benefit Vera when the two clash on February 18th.
Yeah, the only difference is the cage, the small cage. Well, the reason that the Apex doesn't have a big cage, and it makes 0 sense. The big cage is, what, 40% bigger than the small cage? Like, quite a bit. Significantly bigger.
Yeah, because the
plays a
small
role.
cage is, what, 22 feet?
I think 24. Or no, you might be right.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure.
Let's just say
fuck yeah, that
numbers.
plays a role. It plays a huge role.
I think it gives Cheeto a pretty big advantage. I don't know if advantage is the right word, but a disadvantage rather than for Cory.
O'Malley went on to reveal that he's rooting for Vera to win the fight, so the two men can have their highly anticipated rematch after he claims UFC gold. As UFC President Dana White revealed recently, the UFC plans to get back to hosting more fight night events in packed arenas rather than at the Apex. Despite that, the promotion has continued to schedule events at the Apex in the new year. Regardless of whether or not the fight between Sandhagen and Vera takes place at the Apex or in a packed stadium, the two bantamweights seem poised to bring the house down. How do you see things playing out on February 18th when the two men collide at the Apex? Give us your predictions in the comments section below. Before we continue, make sure you give that like button some love and be sure to subscribe to the MMA Zone for all of the latest news. Alexander Volkanovski supremely confident ahead of Islam Makhachev fight. When Alexander the Great Volkanovski steps into the octagon next year in Perth opposite Islam Makhachev, the pound-for-pound featherweight kingpin will be looking to cement his place in the UFC's history books by capturing lightweight gold and earning champ status. Although the betting odds currently have him as a sizable underdog to the streaking Dagestani champion, Volkanovski has no shortage of confidence going into the biggest fight of his career. He spoke during a recent episode of Michael Bisping's Believe You Me podcast to discuss his preparation in the face of such a daunting task, saying,
"Take it on. It's going to make you a better fighter." And honestly, so I still got like 8 weeks left, or just under 8 weeks left, and I'm already twice the fighter I was, just because of how I'm taking this fight. I'm stronger than I've ever been.
As Volk revealed, it would be easy to just sit back and cherry pick easy fights in order to preserve his pound-for-pound kingpin status. However, he cares far more about the title of champ than he does pound-for-pound king. Over the course of his 22-fight win streak, Volkanovski has won 12 straight fights in the UFC, most recently defending his championship belt for the 4th time when he closed the book on his trilogy with Max Holloway. Going into his fight with Makhachev as the smaller fighter doesn't seem to bother the featherweight champion. As many have predicted, without cutting an extra 10 pounds, Volkanovski should be the fresher man going into the octagon given how much weight Makhachev cuts to reach the 155-pound title fight limit. During the lead-up to Makhachev's fight with Charles Oliveira, he reportedly went through a pretty difficult time cutting weight. In addition, footage emerged of Makhachev cutting weight back in 2021 for his fight with Thiago Moises, where the streaking Dagestani fighter was noticeably drained. When the two clash on February 11th, who do you think leaves Perth with the title? Give us your predictions in the comments below. And now for our breaking news story of the day. Jared Cannonier thinks Alex Pereira's win over Israel Adesanya was good for the division. Former middleweight title challenger Jared Cannonier recently picked up a big win over Sean Strickland in the main event of UFC Vegas 66 to keep himself in the hunt for a title shot. With Alex Pereira recently defeating Israel Adesanya in the main event of UFC 281, it seems like the doors to the division have been blown wide open, despite the fact that a rematch between Pereira and the last stylebender is up next. During a recent interview, Cannonier spoke about what Pereira's win means for the division going forward. Although he felt pretty indifferent about the victory, he couldn't help but take note of the fact that things with Pereira as champion are better for the division as a whole.
It is good for the rest of us. We all can get a more of a chance of fighting for the title, as opposed to trying to make our way back up to a rematch, which I feel is harder to do in this sport. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't happy that Israel lost. I wasn't clutching my crystals, hoping Israel loses fight or anything like that. So no, I'll never wish ill will on anybody.
Although no date has been revealed for a potential rematch between Pereira and Adesanya, UFC President Dana White has confirmed that Adesanya's run in recent years guarantees him an immediate crack at the middleweight belt. With Cannonier sitting at the number 3 spot on the UFC's official rankings, it'll be interesting to see whether he's able to secure himself another shot at the title in 2023. When Cannonier makes his return to the octagon in the new year, who do you want to see him square off against? Give us your thoughts in the comments section below. Today's video was packed with some juicy stories from the fight world. What are your thoughts about what's going on in MMA? Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the MMA Zone for more videos just like this. See you next time.